Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review, I am very happy to be reviewing the SH Figuarts Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Leonardo. I'm a little bit behind schedule on these guys, I know, so you've probably heard a lot of people talking about these figures, especially if they got them at San Diego Comic-Con with that early sale, and you've probably heard a lot of really good things. And I have to say, I agree with almost all of them. These figures are some of the best SH Figuarts I have, and I have a bunch. And I've reviewed a bunch more even than that, and I have to say these guys are great. They're not 100% perfect, so I'm going to go through everything so you guys can see what's good and the few things that aren't so good about these figures, but by and large, very nice. So if you're into Ninja Turtles or if you're into SH Figuarts, you're going to want to stick around for this review. So let's get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 14, a little bit over 14 centimeters, which makes him just about 5 and about 5.5, a little bit more than 5.5, maybe 7/16 or 9/16. Let's see if I can math. So yeah, not the biggest Ninja Turtle figure ever, but pretty much well in scale with most of your 6-inch figures because the Turtles weren't originally very big like they are in the current iteration. So I think that's okay. If you wanted to mix these in, you could get away with it. But very, very nice size. And I have to point out, you guys know I'm not a fan of diecast in general because it generally doesn't work well. It's not well executed, so other than being heavy, it's not good for anything, especially in joints. These guys, where there is diecast, it's very well executed. The Turtles feel very solid, and they're very heavy where they need to be, so balancing won't be a problem. The lower legs are metal, the feet are metal. It's a very good thing in this regard. However, I want to point out that the instructions say that the paint will come off if you rub on it. So, first of all, I think that's probably a little bit too cautious. It's not just going to rub off if you do anything like that. But don't rub on your Turtles. Make sure you don't grind any pieces because the paint will come off more easily on a painted part than obviously on a molded plastic part. You can kind of see a little bit more luster on the painted lower legs than on the rest of the figure, but not too much. It's not noticeable, so that's a good thing. So, before we get into the rest of the review, let's talk accessories. We have two interchangeable faces. We have the standard face, which is pretty neutral, and then we have what looks like an angry face. I'm not super keen on the sculpt of the angry face, but it's not bad. It's okay, and the painted eyes look nice. Here's the thing that bugs me. They only have one bandana knot or tie or whatever that's interchangeable across the two, so it has to be removed, but they made it a square peg. They made it a square peg, so you can't pose that. It has to go on like that on both heads. That's silly. That is super silly on an SH Figuarts figure. It should at least be a ball peg so that you can pose it, and since it has to be removed anyway, why not? Why did they make it a square peg? I feel like that was an oversight on somebody's part, but it's not a big deal, obviously, but it's, why not? Why can't we pose the bandana? That's a little bit odd for me. Other accessories include, obviously, the two fist hands that come on him in the package, two gripping hands for the swords, two gripping hands that are kind of generic, kind of open hands, and then two style pose hands for his Kung Fu, because you need some Kung Fu for your Ninja Turtles. Probably not Kung Fu, though, since they're ninjas. Anyway, we have a manhole cover. So if you ever want to cover your manhole, that's what you would use. It's painted nicely, which is nice. It's a nice accessory, not altogether necessary, but it's nice to have. And then lastly, we have the interchangeable belt piece, which just swaps out with the neutral belt and can be used to hold his swords. Now, here's the problem I have with this interchangeable belt piece, and it's not really a problem. Let me put it that way. Here's the thing. On the original cartoon, on this figure, the swords go in like this, which is how it's supposed to be based on the original cartoon. That's fine. However, that's totally wrong. If you had this belt on and your swords were like that, you would not be able to draw your swords. The swords need to be like this so that you can unsheath them with your arm. Let me show you on the figure. If you had the swords up on your back like this, your arm would be reaching up. I'll just take it off. Your arm would be like this, and when you unsheath them, it goes like that. So the curvature needs to be pointing out. Most people know that and understand that, and things are designed that way. Apparently, whoever drew the cartoon didn't know that, so it's irksome. Obviously, it's accurate, though. It's just something I wanted to point out. I would imagine you're going to like having those on there because they're really nice swords. The belt thing looks nice, but the swords are super metallic, very clean looking. The handles do have some paint on them, though not a whole bunch. Oh, there I go, putting it in wrong. They look really nice. So Awesome accessories all around. Very happy about that. Now, paint-wise on the turtle, we don't have much. Actually, is it all molded except for the shell and the belt? I think so. But the paint that is there does look really nice, so that's a good thing. Now, we have a ball peg for the head and a ball peg for the neck. You can move it around however you want. You won't have any trouble. The only limitations are where the head actually bumps into the rest of the body, so that's fine. The shoulders on these guys, beautiful, brilliant, best Figuarts shoulders I've ever seen. They took some cues from the Mega House one-piece figures, or maybe they just came up with the same design on their own. I don't know. But we have that vertical butterfly joint in there, so it's not really a butterfly, but it moves around. It's a little squeaky because the ball peg's really stiff, but you can bring the arms all the way up, and the ball peg can move on that. And we have the lateral butterfly joint that comes forward. And in conjunction with the standard ball hinge, you can bring the arms all the way across the chest. It's so well done. I love these shoulders. They're so good. And then we have the basic ball hinge that lets the arms work perfectly on its own, on top of all that other goodness. It's pretty fantastic. We also have our bicep swivel, which is really well executed. That's good. Then we have a double jointed elbow, which is maybe the best elbow I've seen on an SH Figuarts. Sure, there's kind of some kibbly bits looking in there, but it's all pretty flush, so that's good. And when you bend it, you get really good range, and it's still all flush on the outside. This is unheard of. They're doing such a good job on these arms. These turtles have so many really good things about them that the few issues that I've mentioned so far and the couple that are going to come up, they don't even compare. These things are great. We have the ball hinge, I almost said elbows and shoulders. It's a wrist, that's what it is. And they work pretty nicely. You can see they used a larger ball hinge so that even when there is a gap, it doesn't stand out. It works really nicely. I love that. For the torso articulation, we have a ball peg in there that lets them kind of crunch a little bit. Doesn't give you that much range because of the shell, obviously, but it is there, and you can rotate them around a little bit. You can lean them a little bit. There's not much, but it's enough. You know, I wasn't expecting much in the torso for the turtles, and it works out well enough. Now, for the hips, I'm not 100% sure what's going on because I can't quite get it to do what I think it's supposed to do. We can bring the legs out pretty far, almost all the way out to the side, and you can see we have this floating piece. It's just a cap that hides everything, so it makes it hard for me to say what's in there. But I believe it's a standard hinge, and then you have your thigh swivel underneath that hinge. So pretty much standard SH Figuarts, and I'm pretty sure there's a drop down in there. I can see, I don't know if you guys can see in there. I think you can right there. It looks like they have the hinged ball peg, but it doesn't want to go anywhere, so I'm not sure about that. But given that, you can't really bring the legs forward, and maybe if that drop down worked better, you could, I don't know, but mine won't move, and I've tried a lot of different ways to get it to move. The shell is flexible, so that's fine. There's no paint on it, so it won't wrinkle or anything, so that's good, but you can't bring the legs too far forward very well anyway, so be aware of that. Maybe your drop down hinge will work better. Mine just does not want to go. See, it moves just a tiny bit, and it doesn't really afford much, so I don't know. I'm not sure what the deal is with that, so anyway, just be aware of it. It's not a big deal. For the knees, just like the elbows, love them. I love them. Look at that. No gaps. No gaps at all. Really good range. Very pleased with that. Now we do come down to the ankles where I am wishing they did a little bit more. I would have much rather had a traditional ankle rocker and hinge setup. We just have a ball peg, which isn't terrible. You can see we get pretty good range forward and back. Even the ankle rocker works well enough. It's just pretty limited, and then it doesn't look the best. It's not great. Toe hinge works really well though, so that's nice, especially out of a die-cast joint. They don't usually get those to work, but they did. So the ankles could be better, but they're still fine. And now that drop down seems to have come down and it still doesn't, I don't know. The hips are weird, the ankles are a little bit weird, but all in all, this thing is really fantastic. Most of it's super effective. Even the parts that aren't great are still pretty damn good. I really like these figures. If you're a turtle fan at all, in terms of cartoon figures, these are the ones to get. People are going to want me to compare them with the NECA figures. I'm not going to do that. Entirely different type of figure, different price point, different design, different everything. So not going to compare them. They're different. I say buy both. You're going to like them both differently, equally, and they're different designs anyway. So definitely pick them up. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We talk about all kinds of things in addition to action figures. We do video games, movies, TV shows, unboxings, lots of fun stuff. So come back for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.